We've been on board the Villa Vie Odyssey now for 48 hours, and these are our honest first impressions. JJ Cruise. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And we are JJ Cruise. Thank you so much for clicking into the video today. Well, we are finally here. We're on board the world's first affordable residential cruise ship. And we are here to tell you about our honest first impressions of life on board this residential ship.
Before we get into our first impressions, please, we invite you to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. It's free to you, means the world to us. And if you don't like our content later, you can always unsubscribe.
If you haven't been following, Villa Vie is one of the world's first residential cruise ships. There are people that are currently living on board this cruise ship that is on an endless world cruise.
That's right. These people on board this ship live here and they are traveling the world full time. We loved this idea when it came about, and the people on board, some of them have been living on board since the very beginning, which has been over 9 months. We just joined this cruise ship for the first time just 48 hours ago, and we had a lot of questions ourselves. What was life going to be like on board a residential cruise ship? How would it differ from that of traditional ocean cruise ships or river cruise ships? We really wanted to dive deep into what is life like on board, but also what are the amenities that people get when they are on board Villa Vie Odyssey.
We invite you to follow along as we seek to answer these questions and more. Let's jump right into some of the good things that we've noticed about life here on the Villa Vie Odyssey.
And of course, we are also going to talk about some of the concerns we may have, as well as the one big unknown that we both are really curious about and want to see by the end of this cruise.
Let's kick this off by talking about one of the hot issues that we've seen a lot of people talk about online, and that's the Wi-Fi. As we know, the Wi-Fi on board is Starlink, which has become industry standard for the cruise industry. Well, both throughout the ship and in our villa, the Wi-Fi has worked just fine. We've been able to work and do our travel agent business very efficiently, and so far, we've had no issues with the Wi-Fi.
Speaking of the villa, we were very curious to see what it was that we were going to walk into when we walked into our villa. We have a balcony suite villa, and it's a little extra wide, I believe, on the deck plan as well. And we were very pleasantly surprised at the amount of space and honestly, the balcony space as well. We could have a whole dance party on this balcony because it is so wide, so huge. Definitely have a lot of room for creativity and actually interior design, or is that exterior design? I don't know, but it would be really fun to design that if we were living full-time on board.
The storage in the villa is also vast. We've had no issues unpacking and getting everything away. We were able to open up our suitcases and fit them underneath the bed, and all of the things like our clothes, our snacks, and our work equipment fits very comfortably inside the villa.
Now, one difference that we found from ocean cruises or river cruises to that of being on this residential cruise ship is how often your room is serviced, but in a very positive light. They service it twice a week, but of course, if you need any servicing in between that, they are happy to service your villa. And I think that is fantastic. If I'm going to be living at sea and not have to worry about making my bed every so often or having the towels be replaced or washing the towels, that is a huge thing that I am so happy about. We didn't know how often it was going to be, so we were pleasantly surprised. Twice a week is really good.
One of the differences between being on a residential ship and a standard cruise ship for vacation is that you might spend more time in your villa. And something that we really appreciate and love that's available in the villa is a lot of on-demand movies on your large screen TV. We actually kind of gave up going through all the movie selections the other night because there were so many movies in so many different genres. So there is definitely a plethora or a large library of film and movies to watch if you do want to just relax in your villa or unwind after a day at sea.
I'm a huge fan of horror movies as well as musicals, and both categories are on this TV for on-demand and completely complimentary for the residents. I think we talked enough good about the villa. Let's move into the rest of the ship, which was a huge interest of ours. We're really intrigued to find out how it was across the ship. And first and foremost, the ease of getting around the ship is amazing. Obviously, this is a smaller cruise ship to that of a lot of the newer ships out in ocean cruising today. So we knew that it was going to be more intimate, but we didn't know how easy and accessible it would be to get around. First and foremost, yes, there are accessible villas available on Villa Vie, which we were so happy to see. On top of that, a lot of the places you go are very accessible as well. So if you're somebody that might need some additional accessibility measures, those are available on Villa Vie. But even just for us who don't need those accessibility measures, the elevators are easy to get to, the stairs are so easy to use and throughout the ship. And if you need to go from point A to point B, it's just super easy to do so at any time. You can do it in under 3 minutes tops.
One of our favorite parts of the Odyssey so far is the pool deck. The pool deck is beautiful. It's large, open. There's a ton of different types of seating, both lounges and very comfortable couches, either in the sun or in the shade. And we have to mention the two beautiful pools on board this ship. They are heated and the water is crystal clear blue. We've already spent a decent amount of time up on that pool deck and in those pools, and we are loving our time on the upper decks of the Odyssey.
Another area that we really didn't know what to expect was the gym, the fitness center. This gym is so nice and has way more available to use at all times of the day, 24-hour gym than we expected. In all honesty, we expected there to be just a little corner closet, maybe has a couple of treadmills in it at most or a bike. But no, there's a lot to do in this gym. And so you can really stay healthy when you're living your life at sea.
There's also a personal trainer that lives on board full time that you can utilize for an additional charge. And then there's included fitness classes in the morning. So we have been very, very surprised, I would say pleasantly surprised by both the gym and the offerings when it comes to physical fitness on board this ship.
We've gotten a lot of questions regarding what is entertainment like on board the ship. So after 48 hours, we can tell you that there is both a pianist as well as a duo, kind of like a party band on board this ship that perform every single night. Now, with this duo, at least for the 48 hours that we've been on board, we have seen 3 of their sets, and they have everything from modern hits to slow and more easy listening music, as well as maybe dance music if you want to grab a partner and do a little dance. And then they have a total request where you can ask whatever song or artist you want, and they will find it in their system and perform it. And you can even go up there and perform with them as well.
We've had several meals so far here on board the ship, both in the buffet and Thistle, which is the name of the main dining room. Now, we were very surprised when it comes to the buffet at the various amounts of food that were on board. We know this is a smaller ship. There's a much lower capacity on board this ship as well. So we weren't sure what offerings there would be at buffet. We're happy to report that it is an international buffet. So they have offerings from around the world every single day. It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the buffet food has been very solid. It's been in line with mainstream cruise buffets, maybe a little bit elevated from that of the mainstream cruise buffets. And every single day at lunch, we found food that has tasted good, has been healthy, and has been diverse, which is very important when you are on an endless cruise.
The diversity is key because there are so many different dietary needs on board, and all of those are addressed in the buffet. If there is something that is missing or something that is included that needs to be taken out, the chef is there and ready to adjust and make something fresh if there's something that is not good for someone's dietary needs. But in general, there's so much diversity in the buffet as is that people have a lot of options to choose from. The other option for food is the main dining room called Thistle. This Thistle restaurant was something that we were curious about, and we didn't even know for sure if it was available because we kind of expected with a lower capacity cruise ship to be more focused on casual eats like that of a buffet. Once we walked into Thistle, we realized right away that this is more your traditional main dining room service. And the caliber of service was fantastic, but we have to talk about the food because different from the buffet that might have been more mainstream, maybe a little elevated from mainstream cruise lines, we found that our meal in Thistle was actually that of a premium cruise line level, something that was really shocking to us. And when I had my fish dish, I'm telling you, I looked to Jordan and I gave such a smile and delicious, awe-inspiring face that Jordan's like, I don't even like fish, but I have to try a portion of your dish.
And it was good. Everything that we have eaten there has been very, very good. Again, a great overall experience in the main dining room, and we're excited to be able to eat there over the next few weeks while we're here on board. We know that another very important part of cruising to many people is the cocktails and the cocktail menu. Well, we are very, very excited to share with you that the cocktail menu is a fraction of the price of mainstream cruising. You can get like a rum and diet or a tequila soda for under $5, which you will not find on any other cruise ship around the world. Also, if you do want a drink package, they offer alcohol included drink packages for $25 a day.
On top of the great prices comes great service. The bartenders, the servers, all have noticed us right away, come over to us even when we're on the pool deck far away from the bar, and have spotted us to see if we needed anything to drink, and have been very attentive to whatever it is we're looking for or whatever questions we might have regarding the menu.
It's a known thing that cruise service in general is some of the best customer service you're going to get in the world, and that is also true here on the Villa Vie Odyssey.
Another top question before we got on board for us, as well as so many people online, is what can you bring on board? We obviously know that for ocean cruises or river cruises, you might have more stipulations on what you can bring. So we wanted to test it out in the first 48 hours of if we could bring alcohol on board, if we could bring our own snacks and food on board. And the answer is yes. We were able to bring all of it on board, and the alcohol is a big part. Because if you are someone living on board, you might want to collect wine, or you might want to collect bottles of rum, like we would probably do, and you can do it on Villa Vie Odyssey. So we have our rum collection in our room, as well as different sodas and different snacks. So no matter what part of the day, we can have a nice little toast or we can have a nice little snack while enjoying our villa.
One of the last things that we have to mention is the community on board this ship. We have heard over and over and over again how special the community is here on the Odyssey, and we've already experienced that firsthand. The people that are living here on the ship full time have been some of the nicest people we have ever met on board a cruise ship. They've been friendly, welcoming, and extremely hospitable when we just kind of stepped on board as two strangers. And it has been such a great experience to meet so many people that have been awesome and are adventurers at heart, kind of like us.
I just had to add that there are so many people that don't even know who we are. And they were so friendly, hospitable, asked us, how long we're going to be on board for, why we're on board, but just very friendly and had no clue who we were or why we're coming on board. And so it really was out of the genuine heart of this community. It wasn't out of the fact that they may already know us and want to talk to us because they know that we love cruising and do so much cruising at sea.
If you're living on board the Odyssey watching this right now, thank you for welcoming us so much into your home. We don't take for granted that we are here in your home, and we are so thankful to be here. Now we're going to move into just some of our concerns or the bad or the things that we think that you should know that we've noticed within the first 48 hours. But don't forget, at the end, we're going to share the big unknown, the thing that we don't know quite yet and what it's going to be like. But let's jump into some of our concerns.
This first one is in the villa, and it's more so of a thing to know before coming on board the Villa Vie Odyssey, and that is that this ship is or was based out of Europe. And when it's out of Europe, you're going to have outlets out of Europe. So we have seen both UK and European outlets. We made the grave mistake of not bringing enough converters or adapters to really ensure that we're able to use our US plugs. But since we're docked in town, we went in, got some at a local store, and we are set to go in our villa.
Something else that we didn't know and we would try to change if we were living here full time was the bed behind us. The bed is comfortable and it's been fine, but it is a queen size bed. I'm over 6'3", Jared is over 6 feet, and so we're both big guys. So we would love to have a king size bed, and if we lived here, we would find a way to make that happen. But for now, it's again just one thing that is good to know if you're coming on board.
Another thing we found within the first 48 hours is that the hot tubs, the jacuzzi tubs up on the pool deck, there are 2 of them, but they are under repair for right now. We aren't sure on the timeline of this, so hopefully we'll be able to experience them and put it in our full review, but that is where we are at today on the Odyssey.
Something else on the pool deck that we noticed was not running was the TV channels. There is a great bar up on the pool deck with a lot of awesome large screens. We assume that's kind of where sports play when there are TV channels that are working, but the channels are currently not up and running on board the ship, up there or in our rooms. So in our rooms, we are kind of stuck with the wide selection of movies to watch, and there are no TV channels or news to watch here on board the Odyssey at this time. That was our concerns or the more negative things that we've experienced so far on board in our first 48 hours. Now let's talk about the big unknown. What is the one thing that we just don't know anything about since boarding the Odyssey here in San Diego?
That big unknown is we have not experienced life at sea yet. Yes, that's correct. We have not had a sea day yet, and that was scheduled. We were supposed to be in port this entire time for our first 48 hours because there were multiple overnights. That's one thing we love about a residential cruise ship is you can spend many overnights in cities and destinations that you wouldn't normally get to do on a regular cruise. But what that leaves up for an unknown for us is how will life at sea be? What will the entertainment be like? The activities throughout the day, how will that compare to that of ocean cruises or river cruises? On top of that, we want to know a little bit more about how will life be on board when you have the full community on board? Currently, we're at port, so a lot of people are off exploring San Diego, maybe going to visit family and friends. So they're not all on the ship at all times. It'll be interesting to see how the community is once we're at sea.
We also need to answer the question, how is Wi-Fi when we're at sea? Obviously, we both work full-time as travel agents, so we need access to high-speed Wi-Fi. We haven't experienced that yet, and we will here shortly. So that is one of the things that we will answer when we come back to our full review.
So that was our honest first impressions of our first 48 hours. Overall, this has been a fantastic experience. Honestly, way better than any expectations we would have when coming on board the Villa Vie Odyssey. And we were pleasantly surprised with our first 48 hours. But we want to ask you all at home, what questions do you have that we haven't answered yet that we should find before the end of our cruise? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, hit that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Well, thank you so much for watching. We're going to see what the next couple of weeks has in store for us here on the Villa Vie Odyssey, but so far we're off to a good start. My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And until next time, see ya.